Seahawks fans, it has been a crazy and probably not fun week either, with some massive organizational changes roster-wise. So I want you to use the comment section as a little safe space for some therapy. Let me know in one word only how you guys are feeling right now. You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today. I am Tom Downey, here with some rumors around the Seahawks and some news as well. We're going to begin with an interesting idea. Obviously, yesterday's show we ran through some potential Russell Wilson replacements. Here's another one about Jordan Love to Seattle. Aaron Rodgers not going anywhere in Green Bay, and Love is, well, he's a potential trade target for a lot of different teams. Here's what Alex Ballentine of Bleacher Report wrote. Back in the 2012 offseason, the Seahawks signed Matt Flynn in free agency. 1 month later, they drafted Russell Wilson with a third-round pick, giving themselves multiple options at QB. The Seahawks should consider the same approach now. Love is the same age as Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral. Rather than gamble on one of them, the Seahawks could instead prefer somebody who just sat behind a great QB and learned from Rodgers over the last 2 years. The trade idea that Bleacher Report has put together is as follows. The Packers, they receive a third-round pick, number 72 overall, and they also get a future fourth-round pick. Seattle then acquires Jordan Love. Now, my thoughts are this. 2 picks is too much. I don't want to give up that much for Jordan Love, and frankly, I don't want to invest a top 100 pick in a QB who has had exactly 1 good year in his entire college football and NFL career. That is what Jordan Love has done. He did not play that much in his first year at Utah State. Awesome second year. Was hyped, regressed pretty heavily. In Green Bay, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't been good. So if you want to bring in Jordan Love as a potential option, even though he didn't look very good in 1 game against Kansas City, and his career has been very middling at best, okay, I am fine with that. Giving up 2 picks, 2 fairly premium draft picks for 1 guy, that doesn't work unless you think he could be your franchise QB. If you can get him for a day 3 pick, okay, let's have that conversation. But if your game plan is to draft Jordan Love and then, as it was kind of implied, also draft somebody else, what are you doing? Just pick one of them. It's one thing to go sign a veteran and then also trade for a guy like Jordan Love. That's fine if that's the route you want to go. But is your game plan to let Love and Lott compete? Gross. That's not. You're just going to be drafting a QB again next year. Anyway, so there will be a lot of conversation here on this channel about what the future holds at QB, because it is very much uncertain. Who do you guys want as Seattle's starting QB next season? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video, so if you get the ad break on YouTube, take advantage of it. While the ad plays, head down there and let me know. Free agency talk now. Is Randy Gregory the perfect fit for Seattle? ESPN's Ben Lindsay picked the perfect free agent match for each team. He went with Randy Gregory for Seattle, which I get it. Very talented pass rusher, has had a history of suspensions back with the Dallas Cowboys. I will make note that those were all for marijuana, and that's not a big deal anymore for the NFL, as it shouldn't be a big deal, by the way. So you maybe were worried about the injuries in the end. Here's what Ben wrote. The only teams with lower pressure rate than the Seahawks last season were the Lions and the Falcons. No one on the team recorded more than 35 pressures on the season. Gregory would certainly help as one of the better edge rushers on the free agent market. He's had his issues staying on the field throughout the career, but Gregory is graded out in the 93rd percentile of all edge defenders in pass rushing grade since 2020. So what do you guys think? We'll spend some more time on this momentarily. Should the Seahawks go out and sign Randy Gregory? Type in S for yes, they should sign him, or type in P for they should pass. I do think fit-wise, Gregory fits what the Seahawks want to do. More of that 3-4 edge rusher. Guy that can still rush and also drop into coverage if you need him to in your base packages, since you can't always bring 5 guys along your defensive front when you're in base. His production, by the way, pretty good. 6 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 43 pressures. He was a bit banged up last year. He's not going to command, I don't think, the Harold Landry, Hassan Reddick type of money. So if you miss on some of the bigger guys, Gregory makes sense. I'll make this point that the Cowboys want to keep him. If the money's even, Gregory's back in Dallas. I have no doubts about that. In fact, if the money's close, I think Gregory might be back in Dallas. So because of that, if you want Randy, as it normally is in the free agency market, you got to present the biggest offer. Is that in the Seahawks' preferred price range at this point? They got plenty of money thanks to the Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner moves. And we're going to keep you guys covered on everything going on what is now all of a sudden a very busy and intriguing Seahawks offseason. That means news, rumors, hopefully not any more trades, free agency, and the draft as well with a first-round pick now in the fold for Seattle. Hit that big red button and subscribe right now. We will briefly hit Bobby Wagner as Ian Rapoport, NFL Network, says that Wagner is getting significant interest to the surprise of, well, nobody. Did teams want to pay him $20 million? No. Did teams want to pay him 10 or 15? Yes. And reportedly, all of the NFC West is interested in Bobby Wagner. And I don't know if I actually fully believe that. Now, here's what Rapoport said. He is going to get significant interest on the free agent market, and do not be surprised if he stays in the division. There's already interest from 3 teams that he played against twice a year when he played in Seattle. Look, plenty of teams want Bobby Wagner. That shouldn't surprise anybody. It's Bobby Wagner. Is he prime peak Bobby anymore? No, probably not. Is he still a good football player? Yeah, absolutely. I would argue, and our Niners Report host, Chase Senior host, made the exact same argument, the Niners might not be actually the best fit, given they've got Fred Warner and a bunch of other young, talented linebackers. It's a good core already. I would be surprised if he went to San Francisco. I would even be more surprised if he went to Arizona. They have spent 2 first-round picks in back-to-back years on Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. Now, unless they plan to move Collins to edge, which is maybe not the worst idea, Arizona doesn't have a hole. They're not going to throw money at Bobby Wagner when they weren't going to pay cheapish money for Jordan Hicks. So maybe the Rams actually, I think, could make some sense as that defense begins to change more and more with Raheem Morris as a defensive coordinator instead of now Chargers head coach Brandon Staley. A gaping hole at the linebacker spot. I think Wagner could make sense if the money is right. I would bet he goes elsewhere, though. I think he's going to get more money from a different team than the Cardinals, Rams, or 49ers. But if he does stay, how upset would you be if Bobby Wagner stays in the NFC West? Scale it for me 1 to 10. 1 being you don't care, you moved on. 10 being you're crying tears and unable to sleep at night. Let me know in the comments right now. It is almost St. Patrick's Day, and if you need to make yourself feel better about the Seahawks, get some fresh gear for them. 25% off all the St. Patrick's Day gear for Seattle, which always looks great. The green just works for Seattle. Shocking, I know, right? Chatsports.com/SeahawksGreen will take you right to the Fanatics site for men's and women's gear. Tons of variety. I'm not going to say tons of colors. There's not. It's green, right? That kind of checks out. Check the comments section and the description. We'll put that link in there for you guys. Chatsports.com/SeahawksGreen. The Seattle Seahawks now have a first-round pick just in time for Todd McShay's latest NFL mock draft. Let's break it down and what it means for Seattle. First, the picks off the board before Seattle on the clock. Aiden Hutchinson, number 1. Kyle Hamilton, number 2. Ike Mekwonu, number 3. Evan Neal, number 4, then to the New York Jets. Trayvon Walker, the edge rusher from Georgia. 5 guys that I could see Seattle taking in the event they end up getting there. Charles Cross then goes number 6. So 6 prime targets, maybe 5, depending on how you feel about Kyle Hamilton, and then needed safety off the board. Then things go Seattle's way. Could have gotten off the rails kind of quickly there. Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, Drake London out of USC. So 2 receivers off the board. Seattle's not going to take one, barring more chaos moves from that organization. That leaves some notable prospects on the board. You can throw in Trevor Penning here as well. Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. 2 corners, both of the top corners, Ahmad Gardner and Derek Stingley. Another edge option, since they really want pass rush help, it seems, David Ajabo out of Michigan, and Devin Lloyd as your potential Bobby Wagner replacement from Utah. So of these 5, Who would you take if you ran the Seahawks and you were on the clock? Type KT for Kayvon Thibodeau, AG for Ahmad Gardner, Sauce, DS for Derek Stingley, DO for David Ajabo, and DL for Devin Lloyd. The pick, and it's the right one, and dream pick, I think, for Seattle, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think this is a home run selection for Seattle. I think this would be an ideal selection for this organization who needs a 3-4 pass rusher. KT fits that mold. Got a solid frame and athleticism. Not the longest arms ever, but he's a very, very good athlete. I love his pass rush upside. He can defend the run as well. There's a lot to like on the field with Kayvon Thibodeau. Now, the downside is, and I think in the end, it's that third note. There are questions on him. Why should he slide? He should be a top 5 pick. He's top 5 talent, no-brainer this year. There are concerns from NFL organizations. This is a real thing out there. Don't shoot the messenger, as intern Jack likes to say, about just how committed he is to football, about his ego. He's got one, which is fine. You're a top 10 pick, like you're going to have an ego. It's not that big of a deal as far as I'm concerned. He picked Oregon over Alabama. Some people don't like that. They didn't like those comments by Justin Herbert either. I think it's some similar conversation there. If the Seahawks, make no mistake, get Kayvon Thibodeau at number 9 overall, that is one of the best picks in the first round of the NFL draft.